everybody. Time is 6:32. The date is Wednesday, November 15th, 6:30 p.m. I'd like to call this board meeting to order. I ask you, please, everybody, please rise for the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First on the agenda, public comments and/or questions on agenda items only. If you have a question or something to say, podium on agenda items only. Seeing nobody approaching the podium, we'll move on. Reports from the Recreation Department and Highway Superintendent. Julie?
Hello, I'm Julie Muncie from Dover Recreation. I just have a few things to talk about tonight. First thing is our Christmas tree lighting and Holiday Fest is on Saturday, December 2nd at 6 p.m. at Boys Park. We are in the process of getting all the lights and all the Christmas activities up and going. I want to thank Paul and Billy and Sean for all their help, all the outside activities that's going on, all the lights that are being put up. We're almost done. We're hopefully by Friday or Monday we should be done with everything. It'll all be lit up for Thanksgiving except for the tree, obviously. So I just ask that nobody, please don't sit on the displays or lean against the displays. They're pretty fragile, so we just be careful. Take your pictures, look what you want to do, but be careful of that. And then, so December 2nd at 6 p.m. at Boys Park, we'll have our tree lighting. Santa comes down the hill, and we'll hopefully start about 6:15 for the tree lighting itself. But we'll see how that rolls. Hopefully, we're usually pretty good on time. And then Santa Claus comes down, and we have pictures with Santa for everybody to enjoy. Next, basketball starts. Our youth basketball start program starts November 28th. That's next Tuesday. Tuesday after Thanksgiving. So we're hoping to get a good turnout. Last year we had 134 kids, so we're hoping to be about that, if not maybe a little more. So that starts on Tuesday and Wednesday. Our games start in January, and K through 2 also starts in January as well. And they can go on to doverrecreation.com to register. The only thing I ask is if you're having a problem registering, some of the kids' grades did not automatically move up. So if you're having trouble registering your child because of that, just let us know. We're really the only ones who can do that on our end. So if that happens, call the Recreation Department. We'll adjust the grade for your child, and then you'll be able to register them. So give us a call at 845-832-9168 if you're having any kind of problem registering your child for the basketball program. The only other thing I have is the senior program. Our holiday goes every Monday and Thursdays. This year we're having our senior holiday party. If anybody has signed up but not has paid yet, I have to have the count in no later than Monday the 20th. So if you can get that all in there, and you can come down to the recreation office, or you can go to the senior program either this Thursday or next Monday. Venna or Candy can take all your information down to get you signed up for the Christmas party. And that is it. And if anybody has any questions?
Park looks good, Julie.
Park looks good, yeah.
I'm sorry?
The park looks good.
Thank you. Yeah, we're working on it. So every time they finish something, they're turning the lights on as we go. So, all right. Thank you.
Thanks, Julie.
Highway Superintendent Jason Sartori.
The Highway Department, in this short little piece of month here, we're usually waiting to the end of the month to say this, but dragging on from October into the beginning of November, all of our roads are completed and graded for the winter season coming up here. Our maintenance of our plowing equipment has been completed. They're all ready to go for that ugly word snow that I don't like, but we're ready to go for it. We also, paperwork has been submitted for our extreme weather recovery money, pave over potholes, Pave New York, and CHIPS reimbursement. And we should be getting a check back from that for the work that we completed this year of the paving of Blackberry Hill, or road, I should say, that leads up to Pauling Lake Estates, and for Lake Ellis, which was completed, and we used all the monies that we received from that to pave those and take care of those. Also, we received the other day from FEMA, from back in 2021, the Ida hurricane. We went through a process and got monies back. At one point, we were still waiting for another section, so we received more money the other day from them, so it's a reimbursement to us that we can use again to pave more roads next spring or next year as we move along. And the other thing is, the snow season is coming, and we'd like to remind residents in the town that we have road closures from October 15th to April 15th. There's no parking on town roads during that time. So please keep your cars, trucks, whatever it might be, out of the roads when there's snow, especially in the developments. That's a crowded area up through there. And the cul-de-sacs, we use those to put snow in, and people seem to park their vehicles in them. So please try to work with us and keep your stuff out of the way so it's easier for us. Keep your garbage cans out of the roads. They belong on your lawn, not in the roads, because if we hit one of them, we're not responsible for it. You are. So please try to keep them out of there as we plow and stuff. So, and just give my guys, what they need. And also, I would like to thank my team for the hard work they've put in here for this past few months here, getting our roads all complete and back together. And Terry, my assistant, for all the paperwork and everything she does to keep us going. And that's it. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Jason.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Jason.
Reports of the supervisor and the town board members. Councilman Maluda.
Okay, I've got a couple things. The American Legion, post 1949, thank you to Jennifer Hay, New York Riders of Putnam County, and Stu Leonards. The American Legion will once again be distributing turkeys to our local veterans and any family in need. John Conto or myself will be at the American Legion, or both of us, will be at the American Legion on Friday, November 17th from 12 to 2. You need to call, if you need a turkey, please, quantities are limited, so if you need a turkey, please call John at 845-877-3771. Again, that number is 845-877-3771. We'll be there to do that. Next, we also have on Saturday, November 25th, from 9 to 4, Grace and Smile Toy Drive and Craft Fair will be held, also at the American Legion. That's on November 25th. Grayson was a little boy. Many of townspeople know he had some problems a few years ago. He passed away. There will be boxes and toys for donations, handmade rustic crafts, handmade blankets, custom clothes, bake sale, raffles, that sort of thing, at the American Legion. Again, that's on the 25th. Please stop in and support that. And then we'll have our, there's going to be a toy drive in December. I'm not sure when that date is yet, but we'll find out. I'm sure that'll be before the meeting, so I'll have that posted on the American Legion sign. Anyway, that's what I got, and have a great Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you, Jan. Councilwoman Jackson.
The middle school and high school is having winter concerts on December 6th and December 7th at 7:30, and the public is invited to attend. And Assemblyman A.J. Beefan is having a winter coat drive, and you can bring any gently used winter coats here to the town hall to send to anybody who might be in need.
Good. Thank you. Councilman Murphy.
No report this month.
No report this month. You got it. Report of the supervisor. First, let me start by saying I'd like to personally thank all the staff throughout the town and the residents throughout the town as well. who reached out to both myself and members of my family to give their condolences for the loss that we took last week. I thank each and every one of you. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you for all of that. The fire department tree lighting is Saturday, November 25th at 5:30 p.m. Keep an eye out on social media. We'll be starting to share the flyer if it hasn't been shared already. Check out the times. It is 5:30. Along with that, I believe at 5 p.m., the Tabor Wing House will be open and decorated for the people to come on in and visit and look around and talk to our members of the Historical Society. I do believe there will be a special guest at the fire department's tree lighting. So the flyer also states to bring your lists or your letters and give them to Santa and take a picture. So that is Saturday, November 25th at 5:30 p.m. at the Firehouse in Dover, 3133 Route 22. And again, Tabor Wing at 5 o'clock right across the street. I announced last meeting that we will open up some letters of interest for the appointment on the town board seat. I have been made contact to a couple. I do have one letter in hand, but a couple phone calls, and they stated that they had to put it in writing that they were interested. So I will take letters of interest through December 1st, no later. That gives this board 3 days to the next meeting on the 6th to vet the possibility of new members of this board and interview if needed. December 6th meeting I'll talk about again later. It is going to be for one reason and one reason only. But again, I'll take letters up through December 1st, which is Friday, and that gives us 3 weekdays after the weekend to vet and interview. Please remember that the town hall is closed both Thanksgiving Day and the day after, as per the contract with the union. Staff at the town hall and the rec departments also follow the same holiday schedule. So we will be closed Thanksgiving and the next day, Friday, Black Friday, as well. So please keep that in mind. I would like to congratulate the Dover Lions Club on 75 years. We'll be celebrating that this weekend at the Preston Barn. I congratulate you, all of you. I thank you all for what you do for the people of this town and everywhere else as well, and for what you have done for this town by contributions to our parks and everything else. Thank you all very much, and I'm looking forward to Saturday night. So congratulations. With that, I do have a little bit of good news, I think. We brought up last meeting that we would be sending a letter on to the Public Service Commission, along with several business owners and residents in the town of Dover, specifically in the Water District, we'll call it. We received this today, actually. Supervisor Yeno, on behalf of Secretary Michelle Phillips, thank you for your letter dated November 8th, 2023, regarding the rate filing of Dover Plains Water Company to increase its annual revenues by about $85,485, or 67%, to establish a replenishable escrow account for capital improvements. You write that the department mitigate the impending financial hardships that a 67% increase in water bills and quarterly $30 per customer surcharge will have on your residents. Please note that Dover Plains Water has agreed to postpone the effective date of the proposed amendments on May 1st, 2024, to allow parties more time for further review of the proposal. The company filed a supplement on November 10th, 2023 to implement this postponement, and the postponement was approved by the Commission on November 13th of 2023. We appreciate your interest in these important issues. Your letter has been included among those submitted in this matter. Documents regarding this matter can be found on the department's website, www.dps.ny.gov, by searching the case numbers set forth above. Please be assured that they will be carefully considered by the Commission as it continues its work in the proceeding. It's case number 23-W-0467. So I think that's very good news. Hopefully they got the hint up there that we are concerned for our residents, and everybody else that sent letters on forward, your organization, the business owners and residents as well. Thank you. I think it hit home, and it needed to hit home, so thank you all very much. With that, on to resolutions. Resolution to authorize and approve consent agenda items. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover does hereby approve the following items for consideration and adoption on the November 15th, 2023 Town Board regular meeting consent agenda. Authorized payment of abstract number 11 of 2023 in amount of $245,315.83. Accept the minutes of the Town Board meeting of October 25th, 2023, and special meeting of November 8th, 2023. Approve the Town Clerk's report for October of 2023. Approve the Town Supervisor's financial report for October of 2023. And authorize budget transfers, budget amendments, and payment of off-abstract purchase orders as prepared and submitted by the town's bookkeeper. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Brought by Maluta, seconded by Murphy. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So carried with one absent. Resolution authorizing the payoff. Go down two. Resolution authorizing the payoff of a highway department dump truck. Whereas the town of Dover in 2020 purchased a 2019 Dodge Ram 5500 dump truck for $115,163.90 for use by the town of Dover Highway Department. And whereas the truck was financed via an installment purchase contract due for a final payment in May of 2027. And whereas the town of Dover desires to pay off the installment loan in full at a payoff amount of $66,463.01. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover does hereby authorize the accelerated payoff of the 2019 Dodge Ram 5500 dump truck in the amount of $66,463.01, consisting of $65,691.85 of the outstanding principal and interest of $771.16, which shall be paid from the Highway Fund balance. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Brought by Murphy, seconded by Jackson. Any discussion? This was a discussion that we had during the budget process. Myself, our bookkeeper, and Jason, we all agreed with doing the math, what we would save in interest, and truthfully, what we would help, it would just seriously help us in the budget process this year, as we've discussed. So we had the money to do it. Jason gave the okay to use his fund balance out of the D side, and that is what this is for. Any other questions? No other discussion? Motion been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried, one absent. Resolution authorizing the supervisor to execute extension agreement for Dutchess County procurement assistance. Whereas an intermunicipal agreement between Dutchess County and the town of Dover for central purchasing services is set to expire on October 31st, 2023, and whereas, is that date correct?
Didn't get us.
They didn't get it to us, right? Okay, sorry. Whereas the parties desire to extend the agreement for an additional year to October 31st of 2024, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Dover does hereby authorize the town supervisor to execute an extension of the intermunicipal agreement with Dutchess County for central purchasing services, and be it further resolved that a copy of the fully executed agreement shall be kept on file in the office of the town clerk. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Brought by Maluta, seconded by Jackson. Any discussion?
We're talking, are the dates okay?
They didn't get it to us in time, but they're okay.
They're okay.
It will be from October 31st to October 31st. Right. Not our fault, the county.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried, one absent. And I need something for this one. You have your copy of the budget there? Thanks. Resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Dover adopting the annual town budget for the fiscal year of 2024. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Dover has met and considered the tentative budget as well as the preliminary budget for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2024, and whereas the Town Board of the Town of Dover conducted a public hearing on the 8th day of November, 2023 at Town Hall, 126 East Duncan Hill Road, Dover Plains, New York, at which time the Dover Town Board did meet and review such preliminary budget as complied, and accepted public comment for or against any items contained therein, as required by the New York State Town Law, Section 108. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to Town Law, Section 108, the preliminary budget has changed, altered, and reviewed, and is hereby adopted as the annual budget of the Town of Dover for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2024, and the same be entered in the minutes of the Town Board. I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Brought by Murphy, seconded by Maluta. Discussion. One thing,
Good
you have it in front of you?
Yep.
Just go to that summary page. And I will let you see that there was no changes from the last meeting that we talked about there might be. You can see the fund balance appropriations are the same. The difference of $32,301, no override. We cut it that thin. We are finishing with an increase from last year of just 1.92%, 0.8% under the cap. Okay? So again, I thank you, everybody. I thank my office staff, all the department heads. I think with that, for those of you that were involved, you know it was an accomplishment of getting it to that, okay? Some things were cut, we had to pay some things off, but it helped. So I thank everybody for being involved. Any other questions or discussion?
Oh, good job, Rich.
Hearing no further discussion, we have a motion and seconded. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Jackson,
Aye.
Councilman Maluta,
Aye.
Councilman Murphy,
Aye.
Supervisor Hino,
Aye.
4 aye with 1 absent.
Thank you very much, everybody. Okay, at this point in time, on the agenda is public comments. Anybody who having comments, please approach the podium. Do we have a sign-in list? No one? One?
No one on the
Nobody?
list.
Anybody has any comments? Public comments is this time of the agenda. Please approach the podium.
Good evening. Charlie Quimby, 81 Cricket Hill Road. I just wanted to ask the board if there's been any decision on the extension of the energy moratorium.
Yep, we discussed it like I said we would since last meeting, and at this point in time, the board members feel we don't need to extend it.
Well, I'll go on to my speech then. Last April, the board enacted a public utility infrastructure moratorium on energy facilities, a move that garnered unanimous support, including by members of the Comprehensive Plan Update Committee. It was a step in the right direction. It showed that the town was listening and understood the concerns, as well as a commitment to safeguard the town, its residents, its natural resources from projects that are generally destructive and provide no benefits. Now, just 6 months later, the board quietly let the moratorium lapse with none of the goals, purposes, or intentions of the law fulfilled. And as a result, whether intentionally or not, the Transco project has resubmitted to the planning board to be on the November 20th agenda. The board's actions, or rather the inaction on extending the moratorium, speaks volumes and raises concerns and questions about the underlying motivations and commitment to the concerns of the community versus those of Transco and potentially other projects. Additionally, recent events surrounding Transco's violations of the court's permanent injunction, seemingly with the town's awareness or cause for concern, and like other actions, raises questions. Our attempt to bring these violations to the attention of the town were met with limited response and a report by the town engineer, which did nothing aside from an attempt to cover Transco's tracks. In that report, there is no mention of excavation, land clearing, grading, and placing of significant fill reaching depths of 3 to 4 feet, or the lack of silt fencing to protect the adjoining wetlands. Similarly, the handling of the solar law raises eyebrows. Throughout the public hearings, numerous comments, concerns, and constructive feedback were provided by the community and important organizations who should be viewed as a valuable resource to the town. Unfortunately, there was no open dialogue with the public or discussion in front of the public between the board members. It is evident that the key issues such as the waivers provision and the size and scale of the solar facilities were not adequately addressed or even understood. I say this because at the close of the public hearing, Supervisor, you mentioned several items that you were highlighting. These are all items, or most of them, that could be waived under this waivers provision. It is disconcerting to witness and the disconnect between the expressed concerns of the community and the actions of this board, whose primary function is to be accountable for the health, safety, and welfare of our residents. Thank you for your time and consideration this evening.
Anyone else?
Good evening, Jennifer Lazaro, Confederate Drive. While I was at work last week, I was at a work event last week and unable to attend your special meeting, I did watch the recording in its entirety over the weekend. My understanding was the energy moratorium topic would be on the agenda for this evening. I sent a letter last week to which I received a response confirming receipt. Thank you, Katie. But I did not receive a response to my specific inquiry. I distinctly remember standing in the spot the night the solar moratorium was being considered, and I was one of the many residents that requested you to include all energy-related projects, and that request was denied. Many, many months later, the energy moratorium was put in place, and it became effective May 11th. From my calculations, the moratorium would have expired last week, during the same week that Transco was placed on the planning board agenda for next Monday. In my letter and again this evening, I ask, what has changed that has resulted in the expiration of the moratorium? The language of the moratorium was very specific in addressing the need for one. But as far as I'm aware, those items have not been satisfied. When I compare this to the solar moratorium, you put forth a lengthy document to protect our community from solar projects, minus the waiver you put in there that gave the planning board power to exclude all but 2 items. When it comes to this moratorium, I don't recall reading or hearing about any protections that were put in place that would make our town prepared to handle any more energy infrastructure projects. As residents since 2001, I've been this town's #1 fan and huge advocate. We have a beautiful little place that we like to call home, but lately it seems that it requires much more effort to protect and preserve than the enjoyment and peace we receive from it. When the hours researching and fighting to maintain what we have exceed the hours of enjoying the outdoors and moments of assurance that our town is not constantly under assault, you reach a point where you ask yourself, is this really worth it? For those of you who know me, I'm not a quitter, but you sure are putting up a good challenge. Please join us in force in our opposition, and let's reinstate the approved moratorium until this town has in place the legal protections to stop projects from building on junkyards and dumps, removing trees for, quote, green projects, end quote, and threatening our precious Great Swamp. I just want to go home and be with my family and know that we're all protected and we have done our part for the state as hostess for industrial-type projects. On a separate note, with regard to the Transco property and that recent report that was filed by the engineer, If I was bringing and removing trailer loads of material at my home without any permits or permission requested, adjacent to a protected natural resource, and somebody reported that, would I have received a lengthier investigation and subsequent report than the one given to Transco? Likewise, a neighbor's tree fell on an 80-year-old relative's beautifully maintained house and broke the railing, so we hired an expert to replace it. The town sent her a letter threatening to send her to jail and a follow-up report with 8 or 9 violations on the existing solid structure. There were erroneous items to which were eventually dropped. My point is, more energy was spent going after a retired widow teacher for repairing her deck railing that was given to Transco for the tremendous alterations that took place recently. I hope you'll understand why the perception is that we are not being supported. Of course, documentation, I do have documentation to support all my claims this evening, and you would be very disturbed to know what actually took place with regard to that deck railing a couple years ago. Thank you for listening, and please don't let our comments fall on deaf ears.
Anyone else? Seeing nobody else approach the podium, there's just a few things I will say. You say nothing has been done since the moratorium. Well, since the moratorium was put in place, the comprehensive plan has been submitted to the county and approved. Zoning laws have been rewritten and sent to the county, such as the solar. And you say my comments read last month didn't have anything, last meeting had nothing to do. Well, one solar project has already pulled it off the table because it's too strict. So a lot of your comments, with all due respect, I feel are opinionated. And that's the way I feel. And that is my honest opinion. And I respect your opinions. But with nothing on the table, such as new projects, Transco is an old business. The court sent it back to the planning board to take care of the issue that it didn't uphold. It upheld everything else except for the one item. So it's old business in the front of the planning, and it was already allowed during the moratorium anyway because it was on the table. You could shake your head, Charlie, but that's the way we read it. So have your lawyers talk to our lawyers. So with that, with nothing new on the table, and zoning for the possible projects that certain people talk about that we don't know anything about, the zoning doesn't comply with where you're talking about them going. So it's a no, and I'll say it publicly. So with what is on the table, and it was already on the table. So we don't feel at this time that the moratorium needs to be extended. The next major project for the zoning committee is 145, the zoning laws. Other than that, that's all I have to say. Anybody else? Council, anything?
Nope.
Good. Seeing nobody else approaching the podium, the next meetings. Question for the board members. The 6th meeting, we have a conflict now. Can we meet earlier?
Yes.
5:30? Can you do 5:30, Tom?
Sure.
I'd like to say that meeting will be 5:30 now instead of 6:30 due to the personal conflict we have with one of the members of the board. That night is my plan to just make appointments only. I'm hoping to hear the results for the judge race and the appointment for Andrew's seat. If we get the results for the judge race, I will invite the new judge to be appointed that night as well for the remainder of December, because I believe the first available judge school is the following week. Okay? So they would be more than welcome to attend that one as the appointed judge, and I have no problem with that, or either one of them.
What was the date of the deadline you gave?
December 1st is a Friday, so we will have the 3rd, the weekend, which would be the 2nd and 3rd, and then we have the weekdays of the 4th and 5th to discuss the letters or the letters we receive. A phone call does not count.
Okay.
Okay? So that's my plans for the 6th special meeting, appointments only. And then, unless any last-minute emergency comes up, town business only. I'll leave it at that. December 20th, regular meeting, will be the rescheduled regular meeting, so we don't have to meet just 2 days after Christmas. We do have 1 or 2 members that will possibly still be away in between the holidays, so the regular meeting is going to be rescheduled for December 20th. And if things go right and appointees are made, we could possibly do a reorg that night if we want to get it done and out of the way.
and not have to meet twice in January. Is that okay with you, Tom? 20th is good?
Yep.
Okay, everybody good with that?
I won't be here the 20th.
The 20th, you're away. Okay. So that's my plan for that, and that way we don't have to meet the 27th. We won't have to meet early in January, just to reorg, and we can go ahead as scheduled for just a regular meeting in January is my plans. Okay with that? Anything else? All good? At this time, I move to adjourn and go into an executive session to discuss litigation and one personnel issue, and not return to the dais. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to go into an executive session and not return to the dais to discuss litigation and personal issue. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried, one absent. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.